Whether it be watching movies or a TV show or playing video games, one of the best parts is the fight scenes. And personally, I feel Star Wars is a great example of how to and how to not make fight scenes. In the originals, the fights weren't as exciting as in the later movies, but they held more emotional weight, such as Luke versing his father in Return of the Jedi. Then, in the prequels, you are shown the Jedi during a time when they were trained for combat, and were in the middle of a war, and the fight scenes reflected their skills and abilities. This is also shown in the Clone Wars, which may present this even better due to the benefit of the creative liberty that animation provides in comparison to the limitations of real life fight scenes and the shooting of. And then we have. Uh, no. And then we move on to the sequels, which takes all of the aspects that its predecessors built up, the more meaningful fights of the originals and the more complex moves of the prequels, and just throws them away, instead opting for boring, mediocre, ridiculous fights that don't do anything to excite the viewer besides having updated visuals. The fight between Rey and Finn versus Kylo in The Force Awakens is a prime example of how not to do a fight scene. Finn somehow lasting as long as he did against someone experienced in lightsaber combat, and then Kylo getting bested by someone with literally no experience with a lightsaber whatsoever, let alone a weapon similar. Along with the random swings and slow pace, especially coming off of the backbone of what we've seen in the prequels, it all boiled down to pure nonsense. What I'm trying to say is there's a lot of time, training, coordination involved in the creation of a fight scene. That's not mentioning the technical aspects involved, such as using motion capture, which, as you can see, was used to create the amazing fight between Ahsoka and Maul. Not to mention camera tracking, which is equally risky as it is important to get just right, because if you're too overzealous, it can result in fight scenes where the audience has a hard time keeping track of what they're seeing. Ugh, don't even get me started on fight scenes with too many cuts and just end up being really distracting, making it too hard to concentrate on exactly what you're seeing. Ugh. I haven't even mentioned how having the appropriate soundtrack and sound effects can get you really immersed or further detracting from the product. It's all a balancing act that, when perfected, can create some of the best scenes you will ever see and that you will always